What up, guys? Your boy Just King Zeri. Welcome back to the Just King Zeri podcast. And yeah, man, on this video, I'm going to be talking about how South Africa is being destroyed by the private sector. How South Africa is being destroyed. Yeah, man, there's a lot to talk about when it comes to this. How big business is allowing the destruction of South Africa. So before we get into it, don't forget, please subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the channel so that the platform can grow. Subscribe to the channel so that the platform can grow. A lot of you are watching, but you're not subscribing to the channel. So subscribe to the channel, so that if you like the content, of course, if you like the content, if you're familiar with the content, subscribe to the channel so that the channel can grow. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. We're about to reach 1K. Let's get over that 1K mark. So let's get straight into it. South Africa is being destroyed. On another video I covered how South Africa is being destroyed by politicians. So it's very, very much important for me to cover how businesses are destroying South Africa, especially big business. Big businesses, medium businesses, whatever businesses. But of course, we know the power of big business. So how are they destroying South Africa? They've given up on South Africans. They've given up on black South Africans. They've given up on South Africans in general. Because now, instead of meetings of black South Africans and South Africans in general, actually, because even colors, they suffer from this as well. They do not want to hear people out. They do not want to hear people out. They do not want to hear what people have to say. They do not want to hear what any people have to say. If people are saying that we need, proper wage, we need a proper payment in order for us to survive, in order for us to be able to send our children to school, to be able to afford ourselves a life, a life that we can at least do something, can at least, even if we are not that successful or whatever, but at least I can just try something. I can try a little bit of something. I can send my child to that school, that even if it's not the most expensive school, just one of my children at least, or two. Send them to that school, at least they can experience life, they can experience South Africa. They can experience multiple different races, and they can gel with, they can understand the world around them. Just a little bit. Just from my money that I'm earning here. You understand? So businesses are not hearing South Africans out. They are not hearing South Africans out. They just decided that they're just gonna say, to hell with the South Africans. Let's get those African foreigners. Let's get these slaves. And then they say that, hey, they work very hard. They work very hard because they're manipulating them. They're coming from kilometers away, and then they're coming here. Of course they're going to work hard because they're hungry and everything, but is that what is needed to actually do something? Isn't that exploitation? When someone is working very hard to earn peanuts just because they're in a tight spot, isn't that exploitation? You understand? That's exploitation of the highest level. Basically, this is like new age slavery. This is a new version of slavery. Do you understand? So that's what's happening. These big businesses, they just said, nah, we're not hiring the South Africans. South Africans are messed up. Why? And we're not even messed up. We're just standing for ourselves. We're just saying, hey, can we all live? Like Jay-Z says, can I live? You understand? So that's all the South Africans are saying, can I live? So you have to ask yourself all those questions, that why is it that these businesses have such a huge hatred for South Africans? And one thing you have to look at it, there's many reasons behind this thing. The hatred of the South African black. I feel that there are people who never got over the fact that apartheid was defeated. There are people who never got over that fact that apartheid is over. they were so used to apartheid and the slavery of a black person, the cheapness of a black person, being able to pay someone 5 bob, 1 rand, and then being fine with it. Then being paid 50 rand for work that you could be getting paid a proper salary for you doing multiple jobs. You understand? They were so used to that, and they loved that. And that a kafir is a kafir. The dehumanization of blacks, they loved that. And many of them never got over that. They don't want this new equal black, equal person that can be equal to them, a black person. They don't want that. They don't care about that. They've been trying to find opportunity to get the black to submit. And they found that the new black does not want to submit. In South Africa, the new black says, hell no. The new black says, no, I am great. I am powerful. I am smart. I am intelligent. I'm educated. That's what the new black says. The new black does not allow himself to be seen as a slave, or as someone who has no plan in life. You understand? So, what did they do? They took over, they took advantage of porous borders, took advantage, probably they have a role, probably they're tired of politicians who are allowing the porous border situation to happen, and they're all chowing from it, through having these illegal foreigners. You understand? Steve Biko said, what Steve Biko once said is that it still reigns supreme even till this day. It reigns as superior knowledge even till this day. Black man, you're on your own. Black man, you're on your own. Those words will forever be one of the most superior knowledge, words to have ever been said. So, this is how big businesses is ruining South Africa and destroying South Africa, because you are making the population you are contributing in the unemployment of the population. You are contributing to the unemployment of the population. You are creating poverty. You are destroying South Africa and making South Africa to be poor. You are playing a part. Because you have the opportunity to work side by side with the South African black in order to create a rainbow nation, a place where we can all benefit. I understand the capitalism, but South Africans are very, very intelligent people. Black South Africans are very intelligent people. Colored South Africans we are a different breed. Those people in Africa they're not what we are. They don't do what we do. They're not on our level. They don't have the reasoning capacity that we have, because they are from destroyed countries. They are from. You take someone who's been raised in a dystopia, and you take us. Even though we are in a messed up country with racism, but it was not a dystopia. Although it could be a dystopia in the areas that we South African people, black people, used to live, because of whatever it is, because of the poverty and whatever. But I don't think it's a dystopian society. It was just oppression. Yeah, that's what I can say. What was happening in South Africa was oppression, but I don't think we are the type of people who have shown dystopian society. You go to Nigeria, you go to whatever, you find a dystopian society. You find places like Makoko, where people live on top of a river, people on top of a pond, top of water, and the water is green and it stinks. They poop in it, they bath with that water, they poop in the same water. Who knows? Probably they even drink it. Who knows? The children, they get into the washing, those washing baskets, those dishes that people washing, they get into it and roll it with their hands to get to school. They sit on it on top of the water. And you understand? That type of stuff you won't find in South Africa. That should tell you the difference between a black South African and a Nigerian. You understand? So there's something to gain in having a black South African. Black South Africans are not lazy. We're not lazy. We work hard. But you can't be paying us nonsense. You can't be paying us absolute, nothingness. So I feel like people chose to never accept us. I feel like the Rainbow Nation is only in our heads as black people. The Rainbow Nation is only in our heads. White people, not all white people, there are some good white people, but there are white people who are completely racist and completely evil, and who still want apartheid to exist in this day and age. They still see a black person at the very, very, very bottom, while they at the top. And what you guys don't understand is that these things, when you're keeping black South Africans poor and all of this, it doesn't help you. It doesn't help you, because one day is one day. There will be a revolt. There will be a revolt. You understand? There will be a revolt. People will fight back. And some of the things that you saw in the July unrest a couple of years ago, those are signs of that. Those are signs of that. People will destroy everything that the people have. I mean, you saw what they were doing to people's shops and whatever. They taking the fridges, taking whatever, and there's nothing you can do to them. You should be happy that thing only happened in Durban. That type of thing can happen in this whole country. It can go on and on and on, and the people can just revolt. You understand? And it's crazy that these big businesses, they rely on our support as black South Africans. So we are being made fools of. They rely on us. They don't rely on Nigerians here. They don't rely on white people here to buy. They rely on us. We are the majority market. The township economy alone is worth billions, if I'm not mistaken. Do you understand? So it's quite crazy that these things are happening. It's like someone is saying, yo, I'll give you a shit to eat. Do you understand? But I need you to wake up tomorrow and work and make my house clean and make my business function and whatever. Not necessarily, make my business function, but I pay you nothing. Do you understand? But not in the analogy that we're working for them. No, we are the market. We are who buys from them. You understand? So that is the messed up part when it comes to this thing. So there's a lot that needs to happen, and big businesses like you guys should stop playing with South Africans. You guys should stop playing with South Africans. You are destroying South Africans. You're part of the destruction. You're part of the hell that is being created, or the glimpses of hell. People cannot just, you can't just ignore people. You can't just bypass people and say, now I'm just getting this slave. The days of slavery are over. The days of slavery are over. You cannot be having those days in this current day and age. You understand? So it is what it is. Big businesses are very, very much part of the reason why South Africa is the way it is in today's world. So how will it be solved? I guess we'll see. But I say no to racism. I say no to corruption. I say no to all these type of things. People like to talk as if corruption is the only thing being done by blacks, whatever. No, Racism also in the big businesses world and whatever is a big part of it as well. Racism, classism, all these things are part of the destruction of South Africa. You know. Anyways, your boy just came and said, hey, signing out.